Hey guys, and welcome back to the Nexxt channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the announcements and rumors.
So this started getting brought up really over the last couple of days when a lot of people started noticing that Rockstar's support Twitter would end up responding to people asking questions about the next Grand Theft Auto game, and specifically GTA 6. So this all started a couple of days ago when fans on Reddit and the GTA forum site started noticing that Rockstar support was replying on Twitter to questions about GTA 6. So they would get questions like this: I'm just wondering if it's going to come out. If you can't say anything, that's totally fine. I just go crazy even for the littlest things about GTA 6. Rockstar support saying, there is no news on that topic yet. Please stay tuned to the Rockstar Newswire for official updates. And then they link to the Newswire and then the initials of whoever is writing that statement. For that first one, it was KG. The second tweet is coming from someone ViceCity_1. So I was wondering if there's some sort of upcoming Grand Theft Auto announcement, and are we going to hear anything about it soon? Rockstar support saying, for more information about that, please stay tuned to Rockstar Newswire. Again, that coming from KG. And a third example, and there are numerous examples of this, but this just gives you a good idea. Someone said, will GTA 6 ever come out? Rockstar support said, we have not released any information. Please stay tuned to the Rockstar Newswire for official updates. So those were the responses that Rockstar support was putting out on their Twitter account. But they weren't necessarily revealing any new information, but all of them would say, like, stay tuned, or if there is information, it'll be on the Newswire page. And this got a lot of people interested and excited, but it looks like in order to figure out what Rockstar is doing here, we have to dive into this a little bit deeper. But believe it or not, Rockstar has a long history of replying to Grand Theft Auto 6 tweets, even like 6 years ago.
Now, there's also the rumor floating around that GTA 6 might in fact be a PlayStation 5 timed exclusive. There isn't really that many details surrounding this, and the only evidence that we really have to go off of is the fact that Rockstar Games and Sony do have a fairly close partnership already with Red Dead Online and releasing new content for the PlayStation 4 early. However, that will be saved for a different video, and for the time being, there is not enough evidence about that to discuss. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about the single-player campaign of GTA 6. Now, at this point, I think we can all agree that Rockstar has a fairly good idea of how to make single-player titles, and while you can argue that Rockstar's formula for single-player games is getting a bit stale, there's no doubt and there's no argument to say that it is not loved by many players. That said, from what we know right now, GTA 6 will in fact have a story mode. However, there are going to be several big changes compared to GTA 5. Number one is that Rockstar may in fact be removing the 3-character system that we all have in GTA 5. I personally believe that the 3-character system between Michael, Trevor, and Franklin inside GTA 5 is Rockstar's biggest achievement in quite a while. The whole mechanic was very well done, and I think the idea of dropping between characters within a single mission and also dropping between them and seeing them live their lives at any random point is really awesome. Now, unfortunately, Rockstar will probably be removing this from GTA 6, and this is mainly for the reason that Rockstar will mainly be focusing on GTA 6 Online instead of single player with GTA 6 in general. We're going to be getting into more information on GTA 6 Online in a bit in this video, but the next thing I want to discuss about the single player campaign is the fact that there is allegedly rumors that Rockstar will be making a new mechanic, and that is going to be a time shift mechanic. Take these rumors with a grain of salt because they do not have much solidity behind them, but according to a Rockstar India developer, which is one of Rockstar's worldwide studios that is working on GTA 6, he or she claims that GTA 6 will have a time mechanic where you play their single player campaign through different decades of American history. So for example, you would go from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s to midday, and then you will be playing throughout all of those different time periods. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I personally think that sounds really awesome, and I think that is definitely a good trade-off by losing the 3-character system and having that instead. But another big change that a lot of people are speculating is that the fact that we might get a female protagonist for the very first time in a GTA game. So I honestly think it is time for Rockstar to switch it up, and I honestly think it will be a good thing for Rockstar to switch things up, make things a little bit different and more inclusive. But the main thing that you need to remember about GTA 6, and we did discuss this in my previous video, is the fact that Rockstar will be mainly focusing on GTA 6 Online and not single player. In fact, Rockstar CEO Strauss Zelnick did already go on the record and say that in the future they are looking to shorten their single player campaigns and instead spend that time on working on online and DLC for online. So I still think that GTA 6 is going to have a phenomenal single player campaign, but the fact that it will be shorter might upset quite a bit of people. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about the map of GTA 6. Now, we already know the location of GTA 6, and this has pretty much been confirmed by every possible source we can think of, and the location of GTA 6 is still allegedly Miami, Florida, aka Vice City in the GTA universe. I personally think Vice City is a great location to go to from GTA 5. Not only is Vice City a good improvement over GTA 5's Los Santos, but it also is very similar in a lot of ways. Now, it's pretty safe to say at this point that the map of GTA 6 is going to be exponentially bigger than it was in GTA 5 and any other GTA game out there. The biggest reason behind this is the fact that the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X have a multitude of more power behind their systems than we currently have with the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One X. And to be honest, we shouldn't even be comparing it to those consoles, and we should instead be comparing it to the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, since those consoles are what GTA 5 was initially developed for. Either way, the map of GTA 6 is definitely going to be bigger. By how much, we really don't know just yet, but another thing we do need to remember is that the map of GTA 6 is going to be designed for an online-first environment.
Now, for the rest of this video, we're going to be talking about Take-Two Interactive CEO Strauss Zelnick, who, as you guys know, Take-Two Interactive is the parent company of Rockstar Games. He actually did a couple of interviews with the website Protocol and with the website Barron's. And he talked about the future of games, he talked about the success of Grand Theft Auto, he talked about how the next generation consoles are going to work, and a whole lot more. So I will leave links to both of those interviews in the description if you'd like to read the entire thing for yourself. In today's video, we're going to try and tackle all the highlights of what Strauss Zelnick ended up talking about during these two interviews. So on the website Protocol, they actually started off with a quote from Strauss Zelnick that happened from a few years ago that I think is interesting given what we know is going to happen in 2021. This is what it says: "There's definitely a method to Strauss's madness," said veteran game industry analyst Michael Patcher of Wedbush Securities. "Several years ago, I asked him, why don't you make Grand Theft Auto Online free? And he said, we have a lot of copies left to sell. I thought he was nuts, but since then, they've sold another 30 million copies, and I'm like, whoa, that was the truth." So that's interesting because, as you guys know, in 2021, there's going to be a standalone version of GTA Online. And we don't know really any details about that version of Grand Theft Auto Online, other than we know it's going to continue to get updates, and it's going to be free for a bit for players on the PlayStation 5. But we also don't know, like, how much it's going to be. Like, is it going to be $5? Is it going to be $10? Is it going to be $15, $20, $25, $30 just for GTA 5's multiplayer? Now, after that, the website asked Strauss, now that we're at the tail end of this last console cycle, what do you see in particular over this generation that has really changed the industry? And long story short, he basically boils it down to that now video games are lasting a whole lot longer. And he even mentions Grand Theft Auto. He said, in the case of GTA 4, one would argue that it was a couple-year experience. And in the case of Grand Theft Auto 5, now that's been a 7-year experience, and it's still going strong. In fact, GTA Online will have another record year this fiscal year for us. And this is obviously not true only for Take-Two, it's true for the entire industry. So if he says that GTA 4 was a couple-year experience, Grand Theft Auto 5 is a 7-year plus experience, what are they hoping for the next Grand Theft Auto game, GTA 6? Are they hoping it'll last a decade, 15 years, 20 years? Like, that seems ridiculous to think about, but we are approaching 10 years of GTA 5 relatively quickly.